So you know how I said yesterday that we were going to be prepping our vegetables, yada yada. We're gonna set up with a really easy meal. Well, when we got here last night, we had problems with our stabilizers and leveling, and we ended up really late working into the late dark evening and trying to figure out what was wrong. So we got to the point that we could actually open the door because we couldn't open the door. And I didn't video any of this because it was really chaotic and really stressful. But we finally got level enough that we could open the door. And so we ended up having canned soup and lunch meat sandwich for dinner last night. So the dinner that I planned for last night is what we're actually going to eat tonight, which is our second night here at Kofa, this absolutely beautiful place that we've been to several times in the past, and we're really excited we're back. Have fantastic weather. But tonight is going to be the night that we're going to be making our shredded beef sandwiches. So I'm doing the sandwiches with some easy coleslaw. We did our vegetable prep yesterday before we left. So that's all here and ready to go. But the thing that's going to take the longest to cook is going to be our beans. And you wouldn't think that canned beans are going to take a really long time, but because we have a little bit of leftover ham from our Christmas dinner, we're going to incorporate that into our canned beans with a little bit of onion. So I want to get that stuff going first. So I'm going to bring you over here to our camp stove. Of course, we have our Blackstone and our grill and then our stove. And we've got our little windshield here set up because it's slightly breezy. It's not really windy, but I'm gonna go ahead and put this little pan right over here, and I'm going to chop up some of our onion. So I have it feels a little bit messy. Look at this. I don't even need this can opener because this is one of those open tops. I don't know why they don't do that for everything, like canned everything, beans, soup, everything. This makes so much sense for especially campers. So I don't even need this thing. But I'm gonna chop up a teeny bit of onion and start to saute that with my leftover ham. I'm going to try to keep these buns over here from getting too exposed to the sun and drying out. Anytime you can jazz up a little bit of canned anything, whether it be beans or soup or whatever, you can always use that kind of thing as a starter and then kind of add upon it, and it feels a lot more homemade when you end up eating that. So I'm chopping up a little bit of onion here. I am preheating the Blackstone. All right, so we've got a couple of pieces of spiral sliced ham that are left over from our Christmas dinner. And I'm gonna trim off the fat and just chop it up and put it in with the beans and the onions to spice up that can of canned beans. So it's gonna take me just a second to chop all that stuff up. I love my new kitchen setup out here. I got a couple of really awesome Christmas gifts, which I'm going to share with you probably tomorrow about how I set things up out here a little bit differently than what I normally do. And I think it's a much more efficient kitchen setup. And you know, I like to cook out here compared to cooking inside the camper just because we're here to experience the outdoors, and I don't necessarily want those smells inside the camper. So this kind of works for it's a twofold purpose for cooking outside. And today we actually have really nice weather. It's a little bit breezy, and I know we're probably going to get some not so great weather in the next couple of days. I think we have a storm front moving through. But for right now, we are here at about 70 degrees in the desert. Yes, I have a sweatshirt on. That's because my hot flashes are not flashing right now. And I live in Arizona, so just give me some grace here. All right, so I'm chopping up here ham and onions. Now I'm going to put that in my pan, which I do not have preheating. Hang on a second. This used to have an igniter. I love this thing. And it had an igniter starter and it worked really well for a while. And then all of a sudden it decided it was like uncooperative. So we just need to light it with a lighter now instead. And if I was putting a little bit of bacon in here, I would probably not worry about adding any kind of oil or anything else. But because we're not, I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of olive oil to the pot. Nothing important. Just give it a little bit of liquid and non-stick ability. And I'm going to add the onion and the ham just together. Normally I would saute the onion a little bit first, but I'm just going to throw everything in all together because it's that kind of a first or second night at the campsite kind of night. This is a lot of ham for this little tiny can of beans, but we're big meat eaters, especially Pete, so I'm okay with this. All right, so I'm gonna toss that around a little bit and let that kind of heat up before I add the beans. I really want the ham to heat up and the onions to get a little sauteed. And if that feels like it's cooking a little too fast, I'm just gonna turn the heat down. But with the wind that we have going on today, even with the windshield that we have around the stove, it's a little windy, so I'm gonna let that kind of stay up a little bit more than I normally would. While that's cooking, and this is preheating, we've got a nice preheat on the Blackstone. I'm gonna shoot this with a teeny bit of water. And I like to kind of clean off the Blackstone. I cleaned it, obviously, the last time that we cooked on it, but I kind of like to do it one more time before we start a new recipe, just so any flavors that might be kind of lingering on the grill are gone. And that's simple. Now, all I need to do with this, I'm going to heat the buns. I'm going to toast the buns that we've got the sandwiches. The sandwiches are going to be like, a toasted bun with a little bit of shredded beef that we did at home, put in the freezer, and then defrosted on our way here. And we're going to heat this up with a little bit of barbecue sauce, throw it on the bun, and then that's dinner. So I'll go ahead and open up this pack right now. And it's just Pete and I tonight eating, so there might be a little bit of leftover, which is fine. We don't mind that, especially because, we'll probably need a little lunch tomorrow. So if we have leftovers, instead of having like a salad or a lunch meat sandwich, we'll just eat the stuff as leftovers. That kind of works. I like doing that because if we have some people show up that are unexpected, I've got enough food to feed, a bigger group. Well, not totally big, but like 4 people. If we have a couple show up, and then if we don't, then we just eat the leftovers later ourselves. So I'm going to heat that up, and then eventually I'm going to put a little barbecue sauce on that, but I'm going to close that lid and let that kind of gently heat up. And I'm going to come over here and check on my ham and onions. And they're looking good. The onions are still not softened enough for me to add the beans yet. So I want to let that keep going. It's going really nicely. And while that's happening, I am going to make my coleslaw. So this is what we prepped yesterday, where we put all of those paper towels in all of our bags so that all of our vegetables stayed nice and fresh. And since it's just the 2 of us, I'm going to pull out enough. This grill is not hot. We're not using it tonight, so I'm going to go ahead and just do this right here. So I need a portion for me And I need a portion for Pete, so I'm just pulling out about enough. I really don't want leftovers because leftovers are a pain. So this unused stuff will go back into the refrigerator. Do you remember when I spilled the coleslaw when we were at home? I just did it again here. So it's apparently something with me with the coleslaw. I don't know. Anyway, this is good enough for the two of us for dinner tonight. So I'm gonna add a prepared coleslaw dressing to this. Pete likes a lot of dressing. I don't. I like mine a little bit more minimal on the dressing side. So what I like to do instead of drenching it with a bunch of coleslaw dressing, I put in as much as I like, and then I put this on the table so that he can add more for his portion. So I'm going to toss this, but I'm afraid of doing that because I'm spilling so much of my coleslaw all over the place. So I'm going to do that like right down here. And just let that sit there and kind of absorb that coleslaw dressing. So the other thing that I keep right next to my Blackstone is a lot of my regular seasoning. So I have salt and pepper right here. So I'm just going to add that and let that marinate a little bit while I'm cooking the rest of the stuff. That is my pepper, freshly ground. I like a little bit of salt. Actually, I like too much salt. And I'm going to just toss that. This is a little bit hot coming off of the Blackstone, but it's not too hot where it's like, you know, like cooking the coleslaw. We're fine right here. All right, so I'm gonna let that sit there. I'm gonna come back over here and check on how my bean mixture is going. And we're looking good. So I've got the ham is heating up nicely. I've got the onions getting nice and softened. So I am going to now add the beans. And again, since I've got this super easy open can, I'm gonna just open that. Pete and I have decided that we really like this Kroger brand. I mean, crazy, because really you think about how much Bush's beans are. These beans are really awesome. I think actually we like them both better than Bush's beans, and they're like half the price. It's crazy. So I'm just gonna throw this in here and then let that heat up nice and slowly. Dig this stuff out of here. And we'll just let that cook. So we're just obviously heating things through here. Nothing needs to actually be cooked. That's the beauty of night one meals. Like everything is pre-cooked, and so you're basically just kind of assembling and preheating or like reheating things. So it's not like you're worried about getting, you know, uncooked foods up to temperature or whatever. And on setup day or setup day after, when you have problems on setup day, this works really nicely. So I'm gonna keep going here. All right, so we got our beans going, our coleslaw is done. Now I'm gonna check on these, the meat here, and it's looking really nice. So I've got, this is a little low here, which is fine with me. I'd rather have it a little low than too high. Let it go nice and slow and heat up. So it's heated through nicely. And I'm gonna add a little bit of sauce, and then I'm gonna set that aside on the side of the grill so that I can toast the buns. So we're just using a prepared barbecue sauce here. I'm gonna turn up this heat just a teeny bit because it does feel a little low. And yesterday, our Costco haul made us buy Sweet Baby Ray's, and we love Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce. I do have a homemade barbecue sauce that we really love, but you know, yesterday I was having a time crunch problem, and so this store-bought is a really good one. We actually like they make a spicy version of this, and that's really nice too, but this is what they had at Costco, and that's where we were, so this is what we got. So I'm gonna add a little bit of the sauce. This is the same thing for us as the how much do you put on of the coleslaw dressing. Pete likes things really like drenched in sauce, and I like things really light in sauce. So I start light, and then I put this on the table, and this on the table, and let him add more for his portion. So I'm going to just let this stuff heat up nicely, and I'm going to toast the bun. I love easy meals like this, and the thing that I really love about this, so it's either pulled pork or shredded beef, and the thing that I really like about doing this kind of thing is how many meals you can make out of like one piece of meat that's already pre-cooked. So obviously tonight we're doing a barbecue sandwich, but there's a lot of applications for doing like a Mexican, something, whether it be a tostada or quesadilla or whatever. So there's a lot of different ways that you can use this meat. While I am watching my meat here, I'm gonna set this lid down so it can heat through a little bit better. And I'm gonna go over here and check on my beans, and they're starting to boil up. So they're looking good. I love being able to use meat and vegetables that would normally be going in the garbage. So we only had 2 pieces of spiral ham left from our Christmas dinner, and instead of throwing it out, I'd rather throw it in a can of beans, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and toast the buns. Normally, I might put a little bit of butter on the bottom of the buns, but tonight I'm going really simple. So I'm gonna add these buns. After you have a day or an afternoon of, you had a day of driving, you had an afternoon of like not stabilizing correctly, and so all of your auto stuff was not working like it should when you're trying to set up, and the cats are yelling in the truck, and they want to go into the camper because they want to drink and they want to eat and they want to pee, and we can't let them out because we're not stabilized yet and we don't have the slides out, and by the way, we can't even open the door because we're kind of cockeyed. So it is a rough day. So it's really nice to be able to have a meal like this. So I'm going to take these buns, and it's just the 2 of us eating tonight. So I'm just going to toast them a little bit. They're just cheap store-bought like buns. It's not like we're doing anything really fancy here tonight. And I'm going to make sure that the meat is nice and heated through. And then I will throw it on the bun and serve it. So this looks like a lot more meat than what we need for 2 sandwiches. And again, whatever's left over is our lunch for tomorrow. That's the way. I don't stress about how many servings. If we do servings for 4 and it's just the 2 of us and we don't have guests show up until like tomorrow or the next day, it's okay because we'll just eat this. This is easier for lunch than me making tuna sandwich or whatever. It's a quick reheat, so that works really well. All right, our beans are looking great. The sun is going down. It's almost time to eat. And our coleslaw, we don't really have to do anything with that, but it wilts as it sits here in the dressing, so that's really nice. I don't like it when it's too crispy and crunchy. That's perfect right there. All right, so I think we're almost ready to eat. That's that simple. I don't know, how long have we been going? It's just after 5, the sun is going down. We're gonna watch a beautiful sunset here in Kofa National Wildlife Refuge, but we're gonna do it while we're munching on some food. So I'm gonna go ahead and serve up. All right, so I'm gonna let Pete eat first. I'm gonna go ahead and serve him up, and he likes to take the pictures that we're gonna share later in our videos and our social posts. So I'm gonna set him up for that, and then I am gonna set a second plate up for myself, and then we're gonna enjoy dinner. So I hope this is a super simple recipe that you enjoy too, and I will see you again very shortly, probably tomorrow. Bye-bye.